Hello everyone, welcome to my presentation. And today I'll be exploring the association between frequency in alcohol consumption and body mass index of citizens in the United States of America. By the end of this presentation, you'll be able to know whether you are going to take more sips of alcohol and risk getting more pounds, or take less sips of alcohol to in order to reduce the risk of getting more pounds of flesh. My name is Favour Madubugu and welcome to my presentation. In this presentation, I'll be walking you through how my research background and motivation, what motivated me to take on this research, how I developed my hypothesis, the methods and inferential tests that I use, my research results, and finally the conclusion and the discussion. I was motivated by to undertake this research and to find out if how the burden of obesity is impacting people in the United States of America and its connection to other disease. I knew I was for certain that lifestyle choices actually make people develop certain abnormalities, such as obesity, which is caused by high body mass index. And one of such lifestyle choices is the frequency in alcohol consumption. I was willing to know if there's any association between how people are consumed alcohol and the body mass index. To get this into practice, I began to review literature reviews, review literature from existing sources, and I was able to discover that actually alcohol consumption, from my first review, second review, and my third review, that there's a positive relationship between alcohol consumption and the body mass index. But then it suggests, from all these literature reviews, there was a suggestion that there's a global trend linking alcohol consumption and BMI and body mass index even in the United States of America. And this impacted my survey and actually made me to know what kind of lifestyle choices body weight will impact the body weights of citizens in the USA. And starting off, I developed my hypothesis, and it was if the body mass index is associated with the frequency in alcohol consumption, if there's an association between the age that they are first diagnosed with diabetes and the body mass index, and if number of cigarettes smoked is actually associated with the body mass index, of which the number of cigarettes smoked and also the frequency in alcohol consumption are both lifestyle behaviors. Going forward, I feel I chose the first hypothesis, which is the body mass index is associated with frequency in alcohol consumption. And using the IPUMS health survey, which was generated in the USA, that was published in 2022, and the sampling type that was used was a stratified, and the sample size was 229,411 persons, located in the USA. I was able to understand that the body mass index and the frequency of unit of alcohol, we are both quantitative discrete variables. So using these variables, I was able to quantify them into multiple steps and categories. And under the body mass index, I categorized them under normal weight, underweight, overweight, and obesity. And people having obesity are actually the ones at risk of susceptible to more health challenges. And under the categorical, the normal are people that take alcohol maybe once and never, while abnormal are people that take alcohol frequently, while the abuse are people that actually take it every day of the week, of the month, and maybe and years. Moving forward, I actually subsetted my data and also had to use the response variable as a body mass index, while the explanatory variable was the frequency of alcohol intake. And this models a C to C relationship where you have two categorical variables, and then using the chi-square test for independence, I was able to come up with the null hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis, which suggests that there is no association between the frequency of alcohol consumed and an association between the frequency of alcohol consumed. And this helped my next step. And my next step was to generate univariate graphs. And for my univariate graphs, I was able to generate the proportion table. And from indication from my univariate graphs, I was able to find out that people that indicated that they were abnormal consumers were actually more than my supposed looking forward to abuse. And also, people that were underweight were actually more than people that were actually obese and having other types of body weight. And this also informed the proportional table that was generated down here. Moving on, I was able to generate my bivariate graphs. On my bivariate graphs, it was shocking to discover that people that were underweight were actually on the high, and there were more people that were actually consumed, that fall under the category of abnormal consumers of alcohol. And using the chi-square test for independence, I was able to use it to find out that the p-value and the s-squared value with the degrees of freedom giving me 6, was very, very significant in impacting my decision, where the significant level was 0.05. Using this, I was able to find out and reject the null hypothesis, which is that that there is no statistically significant association. And rejecting the null hypothesis means that there's a statistical significance between frequency in alcohol consumed and the body mass index, and they are not independent, which leads me to suggest that this is a type 1 error. And moving on to the discussion, from both the literature reviewed and my data analysis, I was able to confirm that there's actually an association between the units of alcohol drank, both from my literature review and my data analysis. However, the limitation that I faced in my literature reviews is that they did not emphatically state whether the weight and the number of alcohol cause an increase in body weight. They didn't account for genetic factors, family factors, if there's a trace the history in people that were having obesity in the family lineage. Also, my data analysis did not account for locking variables, even though locking variables were most accounted for in data cleaning. But then, if there are a lot of persons that take alcohol falling under abnormal range are still underweight, then there might be no significant instance of causality, which my data analysis did not explore to find out why, maybe using other advanced technical tools. And this informed my conclusion and my recommendation. From my economic perspective, I suggested that since human beings are rational and they think at the margin, that if the government of the United States wants to stop alcohol abuse, they can impose a tax on the sellers of this alcohol, making the sellers to transfer these costs to consumers, making the consumers not to actually purchase excess amounts. And then, if there's an increased health awareness on living habits, and that will affect the entire body system, and what will cause if they actually go above consumption rate, there should be a health awareness on living habits. And my references actually stood testament to how the research I put in to understand this problem. Thank you so much.